Hello, welcome to the Feel Good Factor. I'm Susmita Veganosaurus. If you're here for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. Today's episode is about how to be discerning, about where to take your advice from, whom to get it from, what kind of inputs to accept and what to reject when it comes to your business, your products, your services. If you like this episode, then you're going to really like my newsletter, The Feel Good Tribe. I send out emails a couple of times a month. Go to my website veganosaurus.com/newsletter to find out more about it. The link is in the show notes. Sign up. I'd love to see you inside the Feel Good Tribe. Mother's Day weekend. My sister and I took mom to this beautiful, lovely rooftop cafe. It was one of my favorite places for the past couple of years. I'd visit there quite often. It was run by a couple of friends too. And of course, obviously, it was fully vegan. So I'd been going on and on about this place, some of the dishes that I loved there to my mom for 2 years nearly. So finally, on the occasion of Mother's Day, we went there. I was really excited for them to experience the place, try out the food. I'd been going on and on about this really nice sourdough toasty. It has chickpeas, onions, a creamy sauce. So delicious. It was one of my top favorite dishes at that place. The place is a whole food plant based cafe. So the food is a little bit different than what your normal crowd would be used to. So I had already picked a few things that I wanted my mom and sis to try because my sister is a little bit fussy in the kind of food she enjoys. So we went there, ordered these toasties. One was a chickpea sourdough toasty, the other was a creamy corn sourdough toasty. The corn one I hadn't tried yet, but it sounded delicious, so we ordered that and a few other dishes. I was very smug and confident. I'm like, no matter what they like or don't like, my sister is surely going to love this toasty. But then, when it arrived, it looked very different from what I was used to. Instead of the nice, crispy wheat sourdough bread, they changed to some gluten free, ragi, dense stuff. It even made the whole slice smaller. The whole platter looked like a lot lesser in quantity than I remembered. I was like, okay, fine, they've changed things up a bit. Let's taste it anyway. Though I did give a warning because, ragi bread isn't for everyone. So I told my sister and my mom that they have changed the bread, but the topping looks the same. So I think you'll like it. So they tried it, and as I was afraid, though they enjoyed the topping, they absolutely did not like the bread. It was chewy, it was dense, it was just not the way a really nice sourdough should be, with that fluffiness and the crispiness, and especially the bite that you get from gluten when you bite into a wheat bread, and you pull, and there's this delicious texture to it, there's a bite to it. That was also missing because this was a gluten-free bread. After having built it up so much, I was really disappointed that it turned out to be an entirely different dish than what I remembered, and not at all what I had represented it as to my mom and my sister. I'm generally an honest customer. I try to be helpful without, trying to hurt the person who I'm speaking to. I don't want to be critical, but I feel like, okay, if I can help and if I can give some honest feedback for them to change things or add things, whatever, or however I felt, I do share it. I don't hesitate. If somebody comes and asks me, how was the food? I'll tell them how it was or exactly how we felt. Especially, I find this is important because as a person who's run a restaurant for several years myself, a vegan, a conscious restaurant, um, I know that, okay, where has feedback helped me and where it hasn't. So I feel like, okay, it is, especially from someone in the industry, I feel like, okay, I should be sharing my thoughts so that, they can thrive and grow and continue to do well. So when my friend came to the table and asked us how the food was, I explained to her. I said, "Oh, you've changed the bread. Why did you do that? The topping is so yummy, and I really built this up, and now this disappointing, tiny, measly looking ragi bread has turned up. Why did you change it?" So she said that now we have a chef who has learned our customer base well, and this person does a good job of cooking stuff according to the tastes of how people like it. Our regulars like it and stuff like that. So then I went into, by default, sometimes without even realizing, I go into advice mode, and then I have to catch myself later. I'm like, hey, wait, so I immediately said, oh, why don't you make both kinds? Why don't you make it an option? So gluten free is an option. If someone wants gluten free, they can get gluten free, but your old bread was nicer, so why don't you have it as an option? And then I stopped myself and I realized, like, okay, practicality of that is it isn't practical, because then they'll have to make two kinds of breads and keep it ready. So I said, yeah, I guess making it and keeping all of it ready doesn't make sense. And she said, yeah. And she said, now the kind of customers we get, they are all looking for gluten free, that kind of food. So then we make things according to them, and my chef is really good at this. She specified that my chef has learned our customer base really well. So at that point, I paused. I looked around me, this side, that side, all around. All the tables were full, they were occupied. The entire place was completely filled up. So then I thought, wait, who am I to be giving advice? Who am I to be even, specifying my preferences? These people know who their ideal target customer is, and they have tweaked and refined their menu to suit that target person's taste. Now, if I was going here every day, every other week, regularly, then maybe yes, I had a right to say, hey, no, I like this, but I don't like this, and whatever. But otherwise, I can share my thoughts honestly, but I shouldn't expect it to matter to somebody to whom I'm not the ideal client. I'm not the target customer. I also appreciated that in a very, very firm, polite, nice way, instead of just, asking me to, okay, fine, but I don't care, kind of brushing off my thoughts on the food. My friend put it across very well, saying, see, we do know our ideal customers. My chef knows them, and, I leave it up to the chef. I trust my chef enough to know what to make for the kind of people who come here, right? And that's an excellent answer. That really is. When we run a business, or if we have a product or a service or some kind of artwork, whatever you're putting out into the world, when you offer something out there, it's not going to be for everyone. Some people will like it, some people will love it, some people will be like, okay, whatever, a very lukewarm reception they'll give to it, and some people will just not like it. That's the truth. And it's so important for us to understand that, you know what, I'll still zero in on who does love it, who am I serving best, who appreciates the work I do enough to order from me, come back to me again and again, share their appreciation, spread the word about it, bring more people. Who is doing this? And how am I serving them best? And then tweaking and up leveling your products and services to suit them, your ideal client, regardless of if it's going to upset other people. It's important to do this. And it's also very important to be discerning about what inputs to take from whom. Sometimes you might respect a person as they are as a person and value their thoughts, value what they think about you, your products, your service, your business, all of it. Or sometimes it may just be someone who's got years and years of experience in the same industry, in a very similar kind of business. But if ultimately your products and services are not really for them, as in they may have the experience, but they may actually not be your ideal clientele. There may be something a little bit different about the kind of business they ran and yours. No matter how close it is, or no matter how many overlaps there are certain things which set you apart. And if they don't get that part which sets you apart, which makes you unique, which makes you special, and which is working well for you, for which you're getting a good response, good feedback, and there's a demand for it. If that happens, then no matter how much you like a person or respect them, no matter how much experience they have in a specific kind of business, very similar to yours, it doesn't matter, because sometimes they won't get it. And if they don't get it, then they aren't the right person to be giving inputs to you. It could even be that inputs that this person has given to you before, something that they've shared, if that could have helped you a lot before. But that doesn't mean that every input of this, every single time, is going to be useful to you, is going to be the right fit for you. So every single time, we need to be discerning. We need to think like, yes, this person's thoughts has been very helpful to me, has made a difference in my business, or maybe in the creation of a product or a service, wherever. Even if that has been there, even if that has been helpful, but this particular thing, what they're saying, is not really something I need to consider, because in this case, they don't get it and they really don't understand my ideal customer, or rather, they are not even my ideal customer. So it's important to make this distinction. And then once you do, of course, there's a way to, handle it, be polite, but also be firm and say, okay, thanks, but yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, but you're not the right person to be talking to me about this or telling me about this. To have the confidence. And remember one thing, if a person is genuine in their desire to have been helpful in the first place, then they're going to get it. They're going to get that, this probably, whatever I shared, this person doesn't have to accept it or consider it or implement it. Because what's best for them, they already know and they're doing it. The person will get it. So don't be afraid to refuse advice, to refuse inputs if it feels like it's not at all the right input for you right now, right opinion that's going to help you right now in your business. And if it is someone who will get pissed off or who's going to get upset that, oh, I shared my advice, I've helped them before, but now they're refusing to take my advice, blah, blah, whatever, ego or butthurt. If that person gets that way, then anyway, you don't want to have a relationship with that person. It doesn't matter, because then all their help, all their, so-called inputs, everything has stemmed from a place of ego. So it doesn't matter. It's not like, maybe some of it has been helpful, but it's not necessarily going to be always helpful. And, you don't really need to appease this person or, continue to have a relationship with them. So if they drop away, they drop away. It's okay, because you know what? They weren't your ideal customer to begin with. You as a person are unique. Your team is unique. Your products, your business, your services, your ambience, whatever you offer is very particular. It's very unique to you. No matter how many similarities it shares with other things, that's only like an overlap. It's not ever, no two things are exactly going to be the same, or rather, no two businesses are going to be exactly the same, because they're not being run by the exact same person and set of people. So embrace your uniqueness, do your own customer research, become more confident, and instead of trying to please everybody, you can't, right? We can never please everybody, and we cannot even please, okay, half of the people we can't please, we don't really care about, but there are some people we care about, but we can't please every single person we care about either all the time. That's not going to happen. That's just not practical. So instead of doing that, look at your ideal customer, your ideal client, and you work on pleasing them more and more and more. Everything else will fall into place and work out. Of course, all this I gave you as an example. I told you the story. If at the same time, if it were a business where really, it was empty, nobody was there, nobody was coming, they're not doing very well. If it was that kind of a business, then probably, they haven't found their ideal customer base, and my inputs would have been helpful in that case. So look at what your business is at. How is it doing? How well are you growing? And, when you try certain things, see the feedback that is getting. And if nothing seems to be working well, or, if things are just not going all right, then it's time to probably get a fresh pair of eyes. Somebody with, of course, someone with experience to mentor you, to coach you, to take advice from. Someone who may be able to help you from an outside perspective, how to change things up, how to, I guess you haven't yet zeroed in on your ideal clients, so how to zero in on them. Somebody who will help you to do that. So if your business isn't doing very well, then yes, it is time to consider this outside help. But even there, again, be discerning and get someone as close to what you're doing as possible. Someone who has experience in something pretty close to what you're doing, so that they will be able to help you really well, help you fine tune and do really well. All right, that's it for today. Talk to you again next week. Take care. Bye. Hey there. Do you like reading? Do you like entertaining stories? How about an interest in gaining new perspectives and guidance about vegan food and cooking, about life, spirituality, about running a conscious business? If you said yes to any of these things, or preferably all of them, then you're going to love my free newsletter, The Feel Good Tribe. I send out emails in a very conversational tone once or twice a month, with stories as well as updates. Stories that I don't share anywhere else, not even on this podcast. Go to my website veganosaurus.com/newsletter and sign up for the Feel Good Tribe. The link is in the show description. Once you sign up, you're going to get a confirmation email. Hit confirm on that email and you'll be subscribed. See you on the inside. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Feel Good Factor. I'm Susmita Veganosaurus and I'm looking forward to talking to you again very soon. Bye!